Hey everybody, we are back. It's great to be back with you for our ThinkScript class. My name is Mike Fairborn. A happy Friday to all of you. We made it through the week. It's been a volatile week again with news announcements, FOMC, of course, announcements on tariffs. Hope you're all hanging in there, folks. Today I wanted to talk specifically about maybe getting some additional indications from an indicator that can give us additional signs of, hey, is it a trend? Is it a strong trend? And that is the actual underlying trend itself, as we like to look for higher highs and higher lows in many cases, or on the flip side, lower lows and lower highs. But what other indications do we have that the trend is actually in place? Got a cool indicator to help us with this. One that's been around for a while, but we're going to add some ThinkScript coding to it to really help magnify it, speed things up, so we can efficiently and effectively look of signs of trend strength or weakness. So with that, I'd like to welcome you all here. Joining the chat by a good friend, colleague of mine, Mr. James Boyd. You'll see him in the chat as JB. Hello to you, BJ. We've got Thea. Scott, aloha to you, coming to us live from, gotta be Hawaii. Pretty sure Scott said that before. Hello to you, Will. Good to have you here on board. Happy Friday to you, sir, as well. We've got Luke and Rocky. Folks, great to have you on board. Any questions you have, definitely throw those over to a very informed individual by the name of James Boyd, as I mentioned. He is in the chat, knowledgeable guy, and talk to James every day, just about every day. Have great conversations. So we talk about all kinds of cool things. Generally markets related, of course, but let's go ahead and move on to some disclosures to get the show on the road. All right, folks. Information here is for general information purposes only. Now, Schwab does not recommend the use of technical analysis as a sole means of investment research. Of course, we do look at a lot of technicals here, but not as a sole means. The paper money software application is for educational purposes only. Backtesting results, because we do look at backtesting all the time. Those results are presented are hypothetical. There's no guarantee that the same strategy implemented today would produce similar results. Now, investing does involve risk, including for some products more than your initial investment. Past performance of any security strategy does not guarantee future results or success. Now, big list note there on futures and futures options trading. Those risks are substantial. They can be substantial. They're not suitable for all investors. There is some additional information listed there. Now, what I wanted to do today was go back and review, like we like to do, I don't know, at least once a month, just to keep us on track, but steps for scripting itself within the ThinkScripting tool on the Thinkorswim desktop platform. Folks, identifying the goal. Today I wanted to look at, well, what have we seen in the market? I'm going to go back and forth a little bit. As I look to identify the goal, here's a look at the market. We had seen this week, just this week mostly, but across the board, there were a lot of volatile changes right around this long term, if I could just put an R in there, resistance. We had a couple of points. It is a 61.8 Fibonacci from top to bottom. Well, that's one interesting element. The other thing is we've got some long-term historical support noted by that dotted gold line right there. Okay, and we've been looking at this for over a month, maybe a month and a half. This level here, a couple of these levels, and it just so turns out that that's exactly where the market's kind of holding at here. But we've seen some volatility here. Now, what I wanted to look at today was, as I'm thinking about ThinkScripting as it relates to the market and over this time frame, with that additional volatility, what are some of the trends that are developing behind the scenes? Gosh, I mean, what are we looking at? There are 500 companies over here, approximately in the 500. Some of them have maybe turned the corner and are ready to go up, make a higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. That's the question. We want an indicator that can help us to better understand, is it a strong trend or not? What is going to be behind the scenes to define it? So it's another Wales Wilder indication. Folks, the DMI, how many requests have I seen for the DMI? Now's a great time to look at it. There are also other great times, but the DMI, the directional movement indicator, there is under the DMI a plus DMI, folks. There is a minus DMI, plus and minus. One indication. Try to imagine which one is going to be for the uptrend. You might have guessed. You guys are sharp. The plus side. For the minus sign, I'm just going to make it easier here. I'm going to put this in red, the minus side for the downward trend. We've got both of those plotted out. We've got it on the chart. We've got it on a scan. It's going to be great to look at, but some other things to look at first as we get into this. I did pull this over here because I really wanted to spend just an additional moment here just to saying why I identified this goal. Why did I want to do it? And what was the next thing I did, folks? I chose simply an indicator. Now this indicator, I'm writing this in red. We're going to be mostly talking about today upside, but I do have it to list both the strong trends and the verified trends based upon the DMI, what it shows us, okay? Can think scripting meet that goal? Like we've been talking about, if you can use an indicator that tries to show it for you already, yes, and we can adjust the scripting so that it can find these things for us quickly and effectively as well. All right, we will end up at the very bottom. I know many of you like this, sharing the ThinkScript link, right? Can't leave that out. That's kind of an important element. We'll definitely get to that in just a second. But before I did that, last week as I went through and I looked through the comments that you'd made, there were a few people that maybe I didn't explain it good enough. And that's on me. I want to explain it. Last week we talked about, another indicator, the ATR, as opposed to the DMI ADX. But we talked about the ATR, and I wanted to show you that we're still getting some interesting indications of that. Here is NVIDIA. I'm going to go ahead and pull it up right now. And if you didn't get this, it's on the class from last week, and I've actually got the codes down there too in the description section. But that was the ATR spike alert. Let's explain it. I want to explain it clearly, because if I don't explain it, if I'm not doing a good job there, well, what else can we got to make sure that it works. So this is what we talked about last week. We said when there are some possibly substantial changes that you'll get out there in the market, when the volatility really starts to ramp up big, what you'll tend to see, and that's what you're getting here, and it can be very interesting for reversals at key points, key tops. High here. Need I circle more for you? Let's go ahead and do it. And also, these were also very interesting turning points. These were big downward moves afterwards, and this was a big downward move after this point. But also, you can get these two at what could be bottoms. I still have the same red arrows in there, but that was one thing I indicated. These can be turning points. Now, let's explain what's going on behind the scenes, because this is where there were some questions. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up, because we are talking about the ATR. So from last week's discussion, just so we're all on the same page here, the ATR, the average true range, looks at the true range. The true range, again, the true range, I'll just go say TR for short, looks at the bar that we've got, any given bar, and it says, what is the range? What's the high to the low, or the low to the high, whatever that range is, the high to the low in any one of these. That's the range of the day. We do have it listed up here, denoted as an R:3. So whatever day I was pointing at, wherever I was at, when I left the chart, it's at a 3. It might actually be where we're at right now. It's 3 points. It's gone $3.02 from the low to the high, or the high to the low, whatever case it is. That's the price range that we're looking at. Now, what we discussed last week, and by the way, that's the true range. The average true range, if I just put an A in front, average is just an average. And that's a Wells Wilder right there, indicator. It's a 14 period. That is the default. It gives us an average of that true range over those 14 bars. And so it's volatility adjusted. Now, what we looked at specifically, and I'm going to pick on one of these, pick on a couple of these. Let's look at the bottom, potential bottom here. Well, it was actually ended up being a bottom. We could say that in hindsight. I'm going to look at this bar right here. Let's zoom in. Okay, there we go. There is that bar. It was a big bar, and we got an arrow from it. Now, what this indicator signified is that we looked at our average true range on that day. It was about almost 7. You see that was about 6.8. I'm pointing to it. It actually shows it actually on the bar right in this column, right in this section here. But if I'm pointing to that bar right there. Now, what we discussed was, and what's generating these signals and this is something that Wells Wilder had talked about, and others, technicians will use them this way, is we take the average true range, which is approximately right here at that point, and we do a 2 times. And we talked about that last week. You might want to listen to that discussion again if you didn't get the details on it, but we say at 2 times ATR. So this day right here, we went up 2 times the average true range. Okay, in other words, we were way outside that volatility adjusted range or potential exit or entry, whatever people might use it for. But over that range, it's double that range, meaning that it could be an interesting turning point to keep eyeballs on, tops and bottoms. So let me do this little thing, and I want you guys to throw this into the chat box for me, just so we're all on the same page. All right, I'm going to point to this bar right here, and I want you to look up here at this point. You can just give me a yes or throw in the number, but I can't do it at the same time because I've got to just point in one spot. But if you look in the R, is it twice as much as 7 when I point to it? Okay, so I'm going to point to it right now. Did it come up appropriately? Are we twice as high as 7? Because if so, we're 2 times the ATR on that day. And that's what can generate fascinating turning points. That's also a method that traders will use to exit a trade on the other end. Okay, now my eyeballs kind of drifted up to the top, and I'm seeing a number in there, but I just want to make sure everybody's following. That's why I asked to put it in there. And yes, you guys are seeing it. BJ's got it. Sergeant Chuck's got it. I think we might be okay. Sergeant Chuck, I put a MA on the ATR. Oh, fascinating. Interesting. You get to see when perhaps it's ramping up over a time frame. Cool. All right. Good. We've got some checks there. That's all we were saying. Okay. And so if I did the same thing over here on this big down day, and you can kind of look at the bar and say, shoot, that's a big bar relative to that ATR. Is it more than 11, or I should say 12? Yeah, that's 13. And that's well above where it needs to be on this bar. But they can be fascinating. And I found a few of them, like AMD. This was really interesting too. We hadn't seen an AMD until we had this top over here. Look at this. Nothing for the longest period of time. Then you get a double back to back. So we started to kind of reverse here. Question mark. Can the trend develop? That's what I want to talk about today. Strength of trend. Okay, a couple others that I noticed this week too. We did share a scan, and we also shared a Market Watch column on this as well. Here's one, Microsoft. Look at this, nothing for a year, and then we get this. Oh, we get this, and by the way, you know what's fascinating about this too, is that this could be a, you know what it could be is a one of the gaps, which is referred to as a measurement gap. You take this range, you take the measurement. I'm just going to eyeball it. It's about here. No, it's not. It's not quite that high. Maybe about here. But that's where a potential target could be too. But hey, where did you get that? You hadn't seen that, folks, for 1 year, and then you get 3 in a row. So it is something cool you could look at. This is another one that I'd found just using the scan tab to help me spot some. Look at that. Boom, boom, boom. 3 in a row from this big downward move, perhaps. And there's a reversal. And this, too, also had the possibility of a measurement gap as well. It looks very, very similar to Microsoft, does it not? It kind of does. You know, it's got some of that behind it. All right. So with that, I just wanted to show you this because this was the class we had in case you wanted to check it out. And by the way, JB had a great class in here as well. Encourage you to take a look at that. 7 key scripts investors should know. Let me just plug this in to the chat, save you guys a little time if you wanted to check these out. It's always cool when JB can fill in on these classes. He's got a lot to offer. And there you have it, scripts for finding and tracking. Now, the one we did last week was this one right here. So you can check out either one of these, but that is that ATR multiplier to help spot major chart reversals. I'm going to go ahead and just plug this in and, let's just see if I can copy the link as well. So this is specifically for that class, but you got it right there. All right. Let's see. Giselle says, how can we use ATR to enter a trade? Well, on that one, you know, how some traders would do that, Giselle, is they would, that might be a soft G, as like Giselle. but sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name there. But how they might do it is they say if I got an ATR, which we can measure over here, right? That's just the default. So we've got that ATR, and when we go 2 times that ATR, first of all, we're going to get a signal here on the chart. And what that means is that you're seeing a reversal of what the normal trading activity range has been. Ultimately, what's happening, you're going double that at least, if not more. And what happens is those can be substantial reversals, tops or bottoms. And it's a really interesting point, isn't it? Because it tells us that reversals might happen when there are bigger bars, and that could be tops or bottoms. Does that help? I put this on that link I just shared with you for that class under the Market Watch tab over here. Yeah, we did create one here too. I'm just going to show you. So that's in there as well. It's the ATR spike alert. And I'll just click on this. And by the way, as a quick note, what did I just do? Okay. As a quick note, what I would say is that, first of all, these are not guaranteed for timeliness or accuracy. None of the think scripts are guaranteed for timeliness or accuracy, but as long as the data that's flowing into the think script is good, and we have good data on our platform, then the calculation should unfold. But anyways, like there's one that happened, the spike alert, AXON had one recently. This is over the time frame. I think we tested a few different time frames last go around, but this time frame was, pull it up here for you. Yeah, this was over today or yesterday. That's right. We did 2 days, and so we used a little bit different coding there. In the past, we've gone 1 to 3 days, or even 1 to 2, but we just said, hey, today or yesterday, fine. But there you go. Those are the spike alerts for those 3. But that's all saved in there. Oh, Monster. I didn't even know. MNST. Anybody been tracking that for new highs? Oh, okay. So this is interesting because you're getting a number of these at a high level here. We don't know. It's just it's an indicator to be mindful of. But that's a really big bar. Just had earnings too. It could still continue on. It kind of all depends. It did a pretty good job of hitting some of the tops over here, but we shall see. That's definitely a 52-week new high today in terms of what I can see. All right. Well, anyways, I wanted to make sure that we got some of that information down. Good. Okay, cool. Let's see. Does it only happen for one bar or it's just one bar? It could be multiple bars, and this is how it would work. So yeah, good point at the end. So I'll just state this. So if we were to look at that on the Market Watch tab, this is showing up. If we were seeing this on the scan or the Market Watch columns, it would show it here. It would show it this day. It would show it this day. It would show it this day, and it actually show it this day too, because what the script looks for is either it happens today or yesterday. And if we were on this bar, it would show it. So it would show it all of these bars. That's kind of fascinating to have that many. And then it would show it the next day. So it's good for that period of time. I kept it kind of short. We could extend that if we want into a week's time frame or whatever. If that's something you guys want to do, we can certainly, work towards that. All right. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take a big shift now, and we're going to move into trends. We're going to be talking about a different indicator altogether. This is one, it's another Wells Wilder indicator. Gosh, he's got ATR, he's got RSI, he's got DMI. Help me out, folks. What else does he have? He had a few of these that he released. This is back in the 70s. He's an engineer, and they've held the test of time, through the eyes of many traders. I'm going to take the ATR spike out. We're going to take a look at the ADX trend strength. And let's talk about the ADX. You can see up top here, we've got the ADX and we've got the DMI. The DMI first, because we're going to be talking about both. So here is the DMI, Directional Movement Indicator. I'm going to click over here on the question mark and explain it to you guys. Oh gosh, I hope it pops up. But I can explain it, I guess, in a basic way if it doesn't, but that's okay. I mean, what's going on is, on that, is it not going to go? We can still, there it is, perfect. Clicked on it twice. So the directional movement indicator comprises 3 plots. The the DI plus, and the DI minus. The DI plus looks for strength of upward trends. The DI minus, the strength of downward trends. Both can be very, very useful. Probably, if you're looking for entry signals and you're long, it'd be more like the DI plus. And here's a cool note. The ADX, average directional index, that you always see popping up at the top of any indicator search because it starts with an A, ADX is the average of the two. But it states here that the DI is calculated as an average increase of the high price. If high price decreases, 0 is taken, divided by the ATR. So he still ties back in some of these core indicators that he uses and multiplied by 100. The DI minus is calculated similarly using the decrease of the low price. So he's using higher highs or upward trends, breaking it down using an ATR, which is fascinating because, as we've talked about last week, it's volatility adjusted, right? From day to day to day. If the range gets bigger, the ATR gets bigger. It adjusts for that. By default, in calculation of both the DI plus and the DI minus, the Wilder's average is used. You are free to choose either one. ADX is calculated as an average of the directional index. The average type is the same as in DI plus, DI minus. Now, what's really, really interesting, now I'm going to explain this now. We're going to put both of these on the chart so we can go through them just kind of individually for now. This one should have been taken out. There we go. And what we'll do is we'll go over here and we'll type in the DMI. Okay, so we've got the DMI. Now, with that, we'll look at that and we'll put this on first and foremost. It's down below. Now, you've got the DMI and you've got the plus and the minus in here. Now, they're denoted as different colors. And what we'll see when the trend is up, the plus DI will be above the minus DI. And that just says trend up. The ADX helps to solidify the strength of it. So we've got two signals happening in one indicator. That's what we get with the DMI, the DMI plus, or they call it the DI plus, the DI minus. If I click on the drop down, we can break this down in more detail here. So let's go ahead and just open up our wheel and we can see what we've got over here. So there is our plus DI. The plus DI comes in. I'm just going to beef these up a little bit. The plus DI is in that light blue or cyan color. When it's above the minus DI, and I'm going to change some colors just to keep it in line. Let's say the minus is red. And let's just say our underlying ADX would be a totally different color. Like say, for example, blue's kind of close to cyan. We could use something like a green, even though that's, this can be positive or negative. We'll make this a little bit thicker here. So now we've got this set up. Okay. So minus DI red, plus DI light blue, and the green is the ADX. This is where the indicators kick in gear, and this is ultimately what our scan is going to show for us here. Do you see right here? A lot of lines. It's tricky to see, and it's hard if this is all we had. But the cool thing is we've got a little bit more to look at. Notice the plus DI right down here. DI plus, what does it do? At that point right there in time, it crosses above the red. So DI plus greater than DI minus. That's a signal that the trend is changing. Okay, now the strength of the trend can occur when you're getting the ADX, that is. Let's pull that up. Okay, so we've got the ADX there. Perfect. Yeah. Is the ADX right here in green? That's our green line, begins to go above right there, 25. So when ADX green, ADX ADX, the average of the two. This shows trend strength using a couple of indications, but specifically the DI minus the DI plus strength. When that ADX is greater than 25, it shows trend strength. And you see here, we did see indications of trend strength down here. Now, this trend strength, folks, can be bullish or bearish. If you're above 25, it doesn't matter. You can see a strong downward trend or a strong upward trend. It's a totally unique indicator. And when we got above that 25, okay, and so there's our crossover, there's our initial signal, but then the break right here, it's so interesting. Sometimes it'll be right above the highs. It's not correlated to the highs, but when you're getting this, the ADX shows trend strength according to this indicator, greater than 25, and you got it. We did see some trend strength start to come into. That's what it's trying to find here for us, is that level of trend strength, which can be very useful in current market conditions. So I wanted to use the indicator first and clearly show you what's going on behind the scenes. Now, I'm still just using, we can look at any stock, but that's Monster Beverage. Okay. All right. So there we go. But I built an indicator, though. I'm going to go ahead and take off our ATR. Spike. That was last week's discussion. All right. And let's go over here and we will add this one on. Now, what this shows, this is what this is going to look like here. And I built for you some clouds down below. All right. Some of you do like clouds. I like clouds. It's a different place to look at it, but you want to kind of scrunch these down. I've made these clouds actually pretty thick so you can see them. Now, when you're getting an arrow up top here, that is when our DI flashed. The plus DSI, the plus was greater than the minus. That's when you get the arrow. When you get the band down here, the cloud, if you might want to call it that, over this time frame, that's when the ADX is there to show trend strength. So like I said, it's really interesting. You get a couple of different indications from it. I mean, if we tied in the ATR into this, then we're just like full-blown Wells Wilder, right? We got a lot of different indications from old Wells, who I don't think is no longer with us, but I think that this is interesting because you're tying in a lot of different components. But this right here, this is your strength guide. And it doesn't matter up or down. All this says is ADX greater than 25. So cool. Such a good visual to check out too. You got it here, but it hasn't extended too long. That's interesting. Notice you get mixed signals. Remember what we saw in the ATR looking at Monster? Just as a side note, Monster had one of those red bars. So you can watch this and see if this turns off and maybe you get a DI breaking above, the DI minus breaking above the DI plus, right? So there's a lot we could kind of take from just the last 2 weeks. It just so happens they work out, you know, they tie in pretty well together, these two. Here is that 25, so it's greater than 25. But also, I want to keep you posted on this. I mean, just keep this in mind. You're getting the exact same thing over here. That too is an ADX above 25 because it just means that there's a lot of trend strength. Now it's weakness. Okay, you get your red arrow here, but nonetheless, that's what we're looking at. All right. And I'm going to take a look at questions, and then we'll take a look at some more, some additional scans, because I did create a scan in here to really give us this stuff quick. Oh, and by the way, there is a survey link sent out in the chat. I just catch those because we don't get them on every session here. If you get a chance to fill that out, that'd be great. There's something you like or something positive, love to hear from it. Whatever the case is, I read those comments, and so does my manager. Yes, exactly, Sergeant Chuck. Yeah, can you use on futures? You absolutely can. In fact, let's just do this right now. Did you have a? Yeah, we can look at anything. I mean, we could come over here. And we could look at, let's just see what, say, for example, I don't know, what about gold? I'm just going to throw it up. It doesn't use volume, but it can give us these indications. Oh, for some reason, we'll have to look at this. Notice down here, it flattened my, it flattened my clouds. All right. You can see them. There's just a little line down here, but you're getting those signals. Like right there, right off that bottom, there was a signal to the upside that was verified by the ADX. Why on earth did it do that? Squished my cloud. That futures contract did right there. Okay. But you can see it all down here. Oh, I should have pulled, well, I could have pulled this up earlier, but this is what I was kind of highlighting. Okay. I left the ATR in there as well. There could be some interesting signs. But folks, these can be really, really fascinating tools to get you more indications of what might be happening behind the scenes with those trends for trend strength or trend minus, or for trend weakness. So useful under, given conditions in the market. I'm going to talk about this too, because I think this is a tool that could be utilized in my swing trade class as well on Thursdays. And some of those that, JB teaches a really good class on fundamentals as well. Growth and value stocks, I believe. Yes, growth and value. Correct me if I'm wrong. But hey, this is a way to tie in technicals to stronger fundamental type companies as well, or perceived stronger fundamental companies. I don't know why that flattened out, but to answer your question, I wanted to hit that for sure there. Wiley. But yeah, let's do this too. What's BA? Okay. Okay. Our clouds have been re-inflated here. I wanted to take a look at Boeing. Boeing is a tricky one. Boeing has kind of been in a sideways channel. You can see over here. By the way, you might need to move this down a little bit so you can see it a little bit more. I'm just dragging that y-axis down a little. Okay, but we want to scan for these as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to scan for them in the scan tab. And this is the one I had established. Let's go ahead and run this right now. I'll share these with you guys too. We have 45 companies that actually show both. Now, this scan I've created, folks, has the ADX, the DI plus breaking above the DI minus plus the ADX above 25. So some of these could represent stronger trends. Let's use a smaller group so we can just kind of highlight some of these though as we go through. I like to keep them on the charts as well so we can kind of adjust. Okay, there's the NDX. So we can kind of see and just kind of confirm, what we're getting here. Okay, so there you have it. We've got a few of these set up. They're fairly straightforward, as you can see. But yeah, we've got like TTD, the trade desk. Let's verify it. We got MicroStrategy. I thought it was Monster for a second. It is not Monster. I don't even know if Monster's on here, but Monster, yeah, anyways, DXCM, a few of these we'll check out. I've left in here the sub-industry, software. We're seeing a few softwares in there, but just some stragglers as well. What's the trade desk? I've not looked at the trade desk, so we'll pull that up. TTD. Something's going on there, according to our indicators. Oh, there you go. Okay. So it looks as though, yeah, we've got the, oh, there's your signal. There's your arrow right there. Do you see it coming off the bottom? The ADX, you got your cloud coming in as well. It's not, notice one thing, it might be affected by this earnings, this cloud coming over here. No, but the range was coming down. It's begun to reverse. So you notice we were just below 25. Now we're just above 25. It looks like today. So perhaps we will see the cloud come back. Okay, there. But we did get a signal, and you broke out here. But some of the strength of the trend can be found in these areas, according to the ADX. Let's go back to it. Hit a few more of these. I'm going to look at Microsoft. We looked at IDEX earlier. IDXX. Yeah. So IDEX. This was the one that had the gap. Just kind of pulling this down, but had the gap up and off the bottom. We looked at the ATR earlier, which was really strong down here. You got the DMI signal, and now we're just getting right there, that bar. What was interesting is everything that's showing up here should be giving us the bar at least today. And you can see on that last one that we looked at, it hadn't shown up yet, but it will, evidently if we close where we're at today on that ADX above 25, but you can see we've been going for a while. This shows strength of trend, but I'm just showing you there's a verification. You've got it under the scan tab nonetheless, but every one of these I pull up is going to have that. There's your Microsoft right there. Okay, so we just got the signal today. We just got it today. I actually sent a tweet out on Microsoft. This captured a few of these where it was really solidified is additional strength to the downside. You can see. So when we get these clouds, it could be an indication of, hey, there could be lower lows and lower highs on the horizon until we see otherwise. This is where those ATRs really kicked in gear. Has nothing to do with what we're looking at right now. And then we got our DMI, but now, just right now, even though it's not drawing our cloud yet, I might have to look at that. We just got above 25. See it in green right there? That's why it's showing up. Let me go ahead and share this so you guys have it. On the scan tab, we'll just go in and share that scan query. And here it is. Okay, boom. Okay, so it is a scan. If you guys had some requests, I could also put it in the Market Watch tab. But for now, we should be good in terms of what we've got here with this. Let's see, any questions on this? Oh, good. Oh, thank you for that one. Yeah, let's look at some more. So Netflix, we've got Netflix in here. Marriott. Let's take a look at Marriott, Netflix. Marriott. Okay, so this is really quite negative for a long time, and you can see the trend really lasted to the downside there until the DI flashed, right? The DMI popped up. Now we're just getting us going right above that 25. Again, we're just barely hitting above that level now, and maybe some strength of trend there as well. So I think it's another way to observe these higher highs and higher lows that you're getting on the chart, because hey, for Marriott, folks, that is a new high. So if you are getting strength of trend, maybe you'll get a higher low and maybe you can start to recover a little bit here. That's the question mark. But it's a whole different aspect, a whole other set of mathematical numbers operating behind the scenes that are showing strength. We had some great requests on this, and I'm glad we were able to get it under our belt, especially at an interesting time too. Let's go ahead and let's see, we've got, yeah, I can share this as well. Oh, let me pull up one thing here just real quick though. I'm just going to add one little note, and then we should be good. Okay. Alrighty, and we're good here. I had just some optional ones. I'm just going to take those off the bottom. We could use some additional indications if we wanted to, but I mean, there are different ways to do this. Anyways, I'll share this with you guys right now. And we should be good to go. Now, you can change these too anytime you want. Oh, there's the share right there. Okay, cool. Share. And I'll put this into the box. Yes, boom, there you have it. So that's for our charts. Let's look at that too right now so we can kind of get a sense of it. It's just the trend strength that we've got here. These can be adjusted, of course. You can put them in. Now, what's really cool on this is this same logic. I was able to capture much of this and indications of it just by looking at the indicator. So I've actually had a really easy break the last couple of weeks just using just real general type coding, but this is the coding behind it, and it's all just very, very straightforward. Once we've listed up top, we've defined what the ADX is, right? That's the average. We've got the plus, we got the minus. So I've capped those out so you can see them. What a trend up means is you've got the plus DI greater than the minus DI, which we explained. The trend down is just the opposite. So that's going to give you a red arrow, but the strong trend is really the key point I wanted to focus in on here. Strong trend, ADX greater than the ADX threshold. You see it highlight up top? What was our threshold? Now we could call this whatever we wanted. We're just stating that input. We could say ADX level. It is a threshold because anything we break above it, boom, that's going to flash that, hey, that could be solidified as strength. All right, I got the clouds listed down below. This is where it took me most of my time. You might even, if you don't want those clouds, because it does adjust the chart, you can take those off and the indicator will still give you the cloud. It's just kind of fun to see it. I couldn't make it really fit that well. This is what really took the majority of my time. But erase these and the scan itself will still do what? It will still give you a strong trend indicator. It just won't show it on the chart. You won't see it. The scan shows it though. All right. So now you've got it. You guys are equipped with some additional indications for trend strength, as we go through this. But let's see, were there any other comments that you guys were looking at or anything else? Yes. The ADX, no, so the ADX tells direction. No, the ADX, it's a good follow-up question. The ADX that I have, we've got a indication of it here, right in green. That just shows the strength of trend. The scan we looked at is just upward trends only. So trend strength to the upside. Okay. So I don't want to confuse it with that, but this can be either one. Notice over here that what was the stock price doing on our Marriott, folks? It was going down, as you could see that. Okay. Notice where the ADX is. It's just showing strength of trend. It was up. It's above 25. So it can be up or down. The scan just shows you those were just bullish. We can flip the scan. You guys can see that. That can be done fairly easily. Now, if it's something that you'd like me to do, you have an issue with it, we can do that next week as well. I could throw it in at the beginning of the class, which I normally will do on some of these follow-up questions, okay? Okay, so you should have got that, Bo. And we're there. Yeah, folks. Hey, oh, by the way, just a quick note, just to other point. Hey, if you find this effective for you, you like this kind of stuff, folks, smash that like button. It helps kind of keep this kind of content coming up more frequently. And yeah, easy to just subscribe as well. As Ben Watson likes to say, it's free to subscribe, right? It's free. We don't charge you for subscriptions. In fact, I don't know if there is one on YouTube that way, but I always got a kick out of that. It's free to subscribe. Absolutely, it is. And so with that, but yeah, so, okay, good. Good, we got that down. Okay, so I think we can get through a lot of our issues just by going through the indicator. A little bit more detail. There's a lot going on there, folks, but consider using this, utilizing it with that ATR that we talked about last week. I sent that out. I sent the link out to it as well. You guys can snag that if that's something you're interested in doing. Again, here is that playlist, and it was just this class. By the way, I do encourage you to take a look at what James has got. He's always got interesting components to look at. 7 key scripts indicators should know. All right. Well, folks, it is a happy Friday. I'll say happy Friday again. Hope you have a fantastic weekend coming up. Really enjoyed it. There was a survey in the chat as JB has posted there. Any questions, comments you have, love to see those come in there too. All right, everybody. Well, it's been awesome being with you. Utilize this perhaps with your trend-based indicators for strength. See y'all next time. Take care.